It's a beautiful Monday morning here at the Vans US Open of Surfing into round one, heat number 2. Taking on to this heat is T.Tudela, M.Herdy, T.King, and J.Collins, fighting for the top 2 spots to move on to the round of 96, which will be happening quickly later on this morning.
Yeah, the goal is always to win for everyone, same as me, but yeah, just trying to keep it heat by heat and just trying to stay in the moment. And yeah, I just want to thank my parents and my sponsors for supporting me, and I'm super psyched to make it through my heat.
Well, we had a little bit of action during that catch-up with Kay. This is M.Herdy on the right.
And Mateus, again, he's one of those new, young Brazilian crew, and there is a posse of them, and he's right there at the top of the pack, so you'd expect a lot from him. He's been surfing so well. Again, has it all. You know, he is able to surf on the backhand really well, on the forehand really well, and he also has the tricks. Just like that, he knows how to pop the air reverse and pull it down. And a lot of surfers, if you don't have this in your repertoire, you better start figuring out a way to have it. Again, he's on a Mayhem as well. You're going to see a lot of Matt's boards here in California. Surfers that maybe even ride different boards around the world will actually order up boards. Here's T.King. He's on the backhand here. We didn't talk about him from Costa Rica, but this kid's got it too. A little bigger frame, so he's got some bigger turns. Has had some success here on the qualifying series over the years. Again, that left on the outside section, and then the connection through to the inside didn't quite finish that wave. That's going to affect the score slightly.
Now out the back, starting things off is T.Tudela from Peru. A little bit of busy work just to stay in this wave. End section tries to push a bit harder, but unable to really unload there. Tomas will get on the board and a start. Mateus looking to back up the 7-6-7.
Moss, his first wave here, tagging on that outside section. A little stuck there. He would have seen better flow had he projected with speed out of that maneuver, but got a little stuck, so that'll affect his score slightly. Again, always trying to figure out where that next best opportunity is on that inside section. And I think that's where it's so important for these guys, is to be able to have that read.
He's a proud father as he's watching this go down. M.Herdy just weaving a little bit on this inside corner. Wave's barely breaking, but he's got the connection to now turn to his backhand for an exciting finish.
Watch this replay here from your heat leader, M.Herdy. Nice, beautiful weaving. See, this is the part of surfing here where he's weaving his way through the flat section rather than hopping. Different technique to get to that inside, a lot more flow. Again, see his head moving back and forth, looking over his shoulder. We're going to take a look at Tomas here. Looks like wave number 2, and he gets the pop, drifts the fins and reverses. See if he makes this inside section here. Again, you can see over his shoulder looking this way.
Going to the draw for the top 17 with an exciting world title showdown with Stephanie Gilmore back on that #1 spot on the Jeep leaderboard. They'll have the day off today, all about the men's QS, and a couple of exciting forehand hooks for J.Collins. Just had a .43 before this wave, so a critical time to get started. Looks like he's got this inside connection, finding the lip, snaps it a second time off the roof, and gets the completion.
Well, at 12 minutes, you know, he's getting a later start in this heat. You know, it was inconsistencies. You got to understand that a lot of times you're taking turn, making his way through that right-hander on the inside. This is that same wave here. So he started out going left towards the pier, and then he comes back. But since he had the priority position over Tomas had to give way. Which, of course, that's why priority is so important, is that when you have it, you can utilize the wave all the way for its fullest potential. You look at the progression of the sport, you got to be able to do it all. You got to be able to ride the big stuff and the small stuff.
And you love surfing waves like this, especially remembering your final here, which just feels like yesterday for me. I was cheering for you, Pete. Ways to win out here in Huntington. We'll dive back into that with T.King backing up the 5.83. Clean frontside hack to finish. So a solid heat underway, 7:50 to go. Remember, Mateus locked in the 5.5 as a backup.
Collins looking for a backup score and had to give way to King. So this 2 right here battling for that second position. Again, top 2 advance. So important, just as important to be in second as it is for the win. You're able to surf each and every day with a guy who's, you know, like a world champ, you know, John Florence. example of the North Shore and watching all of the surfers behind him. You know, a lot of times I think that working with a single shaper and really refining it is important as well.
Watching J.Collins aggressively throw down 2 quick turns on the back end. Collins needing a 6.07 to move into the top 2, earning this reform.
What that pier ball do? You move further away from the pier, this will happen to you, where the wave kind of dissipates really quickly. It's a lot deeper off of that bank, whereas the sand settles next to that because the rip pulls out along the pier and it piles sand up. Find that ability to pick up extra speed. You know, he's been sitting himself right there next to that pier ball, and generally the pier ball, what it does is that the pier affects the bank and allows that bank to form up and actually gives you energy next to the pier. It's deep water mixed with shallow water. You get this kind of wedge effect, and so a lot of surfers are going to want to pick up their waves right there next to the pier. And again, that see how the whitewater broke all the way. No green jersey. He's going to be to the left of your screen, away from King, and so Thomas up, and he's up. Quick my miracle happening. It needs to be a much bigger set in order to get that high quality outside section, whereas next to the pier, generally you're going to get a lot more opportunity.
I don't know how Mateus caught this wave somehow into a double up section, throwaways that end section maneuver. It felt like he had a motor on the bottom of his board.
And he's just getting a lot of reps. I think he's turning a lot of waves into mediocre scores. I mean, here he is again, just like, since there's 30 seconds, I'm going to go on another wave here. But great performance from him, one of the best juniors, and one of those surfers that you would think is going to break into that top 10 picture here very, very soon.
King in the second spot. J.Collins was trying to sneak away and find a 6.07. And T.Tudela left chasing that 6.51 as we are now into the countdown. The round of 96 starting to fill in those spots coming up later on this morning. And a youthful charge. M.Herdy showing that progressive element in small conditions on the south side of Huntington Pier.